Hayden Howard loved dogs, but she couldn't overlook the responsibility that came with owning them. Raising children was no easy task, and she knew that a puppy meant another child in the house. They can get into all sorts of trouble, and you always have to keep an eye on them because disaster can strike quickly. If only she knew how much before their nightmare unfolds. Hayden thought that adopting a dog would be a good idea. After an emotional visit to the shelter, the decision became increasingly difficult. She wanted to adopt all these adorable creatures, but unfortunately she had to decide which one would best fit her home. For some reason, her gaze fell on an English Mastiff puppy with chocolate brown eyes. This fluffy puppy was just perfect. Hayden definitely took a liking to him and couldn't resist taking him. Somehow the name Jackson seemed to suit him. He was cute and very sweet, but despite his age, he also had the look of a Mastiff, so Jackson fit perfectly. As the days passed, the owner began to notice something strange in her beloved puppy. His cheerful disposition suddenly changed. He became quieter and more melancholic. It even seemed that his eyes were sad. Everything seemed normal until Saturday, April 15, 2017. The whole Howard family was relaxing after a whole day and looking forward to a pleasant evening at home. Their puppy also wanted to take part in the event, so he cuddled up to Hayden on the couch. Since Jackson hadn't been feeling his best lately, Hayden gave him a little more attention and began to stroke his body, as the puppy loved being stroked, especially after a long day of playing outdoors. However, something surprised her when she touched Jackson's belly. What was on his belly? Unfortunately, Jackson's fur was different today. It was no longer as fluffy as before. Hayden noticed strange marks on Jackson and couldn't understand what they were. She knew Jackson was a Mastiff, but could he belong to another breed? Why did his body change so suddenly? Hayden had so many questions. Upon closer inspection, Hayden saw that these small lumps were bleeding. What a fright! Hayden was deeply shaken and didn't even want her children to see it. What was happening to Jackson? Hayden knew that this was no longer a tick or other bite. It was time to take Jackson to the vet. Perhaps he will have a concrete explanation of his dog's condition and recommend an appropriate treatment plan. There were probably hundreds of veterinarians in the area, but Hayden already had her favorite doctor for Jackson, Dr. Steve Sunbury. He had an excellent reputation and was liked by many pet owners. Hayden didn't think anyone else could help her puppy. Using a clipper, Dr. Sunbury carefully removed Jackson's fur and shaved each wound site. He had done this countless times, but this was the first time he had done it on more than one area of the body. Poor Jackson looked a bit strange with his new haircut, but it was for his own good. There were real holes in Jackson's delicate skin. Apparently, it was not a problem with insects or ticks, but rather a case of animal abuse. It was an emotional moment, especially for Hayden, who had never noticed these holes before. After a thorough examination of Jackson, the vet revealed that the holes were not caused by an insect bite, but by lead pellets. Hayden's beloved puppy had been shot multiple times with a BB gun. Hayden was in disbelief. Who could do such a thing to a small, innocent creature like Jackson? The X-rays showed that the small pellets were embedded deep into Jackson's tissues. There were so many of them that it seemed like Jackson had been used as a target. Dr. Sunbury estimated that there were about 50 pellets in Jackson's body. Hayden's heart sank at the news. She couldn't believe that someone could inflict such harm on a defenseless puppy. After the shocking revelation, Dr. Sunbury knew they needed to act fast. The lead pellets needed to be removed before they could cause any more damage. Jackson was prepared for surgery, and Hayden could only watch anxiously as her puppy was wheeled into the operating room. The operation lasted for hours, but thanks to Dr. Sunbury's skills, and the help of his team, it was successful. They managed to remove most of the pellets, and Jackson was finally free from the physical reminders of the abuse he had endured. Hayden was relieved when she heard the good news. Jackson needed a lot of rest and care after the operation. Hayden was more than willing to provide this, and she spent many nights sleeping on the floor next to Jackson's bed, ensuring that he was comfortable and not in pain. Gradually, Jackson started to recover. His wounds healed, and his cheerful and playful spirit returned. He seemed to understand that he was now in a safe and loving home, and that he would never have to endure such terrible abuse again. The experience was harrowing for both Hayden and Jackson, but it brought them even closer. Hayden had saved Jackson's life, and in return, Jackson filled her life with joy and love. Despite the horrific start to his life, Jackson was now living the life every dog deserves, full of love, care, and kindness. Binding bonds through beautiful tales. Thank you for watching.